Been about a week since we've had the big news at Xbox with Phil and Sarah leaving senior leadership and having Asha come in and take over, who's from an AI background, which has caused a lot of concern for some individuals. I figured I'd hop in, talk about some of my perspective with the various like executive types that I've seen over the years, particularly out of Silicon Valley, because that's where a lot of the tech shenanigans took place over the last like 20 years. Now, when I first started, we were industry-wide getting a big push towards like the social media push, where we had people trying to make everything into a social network, because the assumption was if you make everything a social network, then people will spend all their time there and everything will be like super great, and then you'll just have those users forever. It was largely a disaster. What was it? The PlayStation 3 or 4 that had the share button on it. I don't remember. I wasn't a big console guy back then. Still aren't. And then over time, we had like a little bit of a lull. We had VR really take off. That's where a lot of scammers kind of ran in there, but also a lot of people that realized it was just a fad that jumped in there for high salaries. That died off. Then we saw crypto pop off. Crypto was clearly a scam. And the best engineers that I saw that were in that were the people that recognized it was a scam and were just there for quick money, where some of the worst engineers that I've seen in my whole life were actually betting on the whole idea of crypto being like the next big video game thing, which clearly it wasn't. And then we led into AI, which is where we're in now. Big bubble that's going on right now. Asha gets moved in to take over the AI side of Microsoft. Was doing it for about 2 years, and it's Microsoft. They're terribly run. They aim to like just throw more bodies at problems and try and bring in the cheapest labor costs they can, which is mostly like abusing various visa systems that the U.S. has to try and make sure that they get as many like cheap people from out of country as possible to fill in their like incessant demand for just bodies to throw at problems. The only big thing that I saw Asha really get into for this like long, all of the last 20 years of like really scammy things is pretty much just AI. And she did it for a few years leading it in Microsoft. She comes from like, totally different background, very executive focused, which is its own, actually an important role for something that's like really Byzantine, like Xbox and Microsoft. Microsoft is one of the worst run companies in all the United States. It has so many people, so many levels of bureaucracy, so many meetings. You need someone that is able to be a political animal to make sure that whatever you want to get done at a company like that is able to get it done. And to Asha's credit, it does seem like she does have that as something that she can do. As everything was settling with Phil Spencer, a lot of blame for the failures of Microsoft got laid at the foot of Sarah Bond. I'm not sure if we can say a lot of this is her fault with like the state of Xbox. The only thing I can really say absolutely 100% sure is when you're at a role that senior and things go wrong that justify bringing in someone totally new from the outside, it's your job to take the fall. So did Sarah run a lot of stuff into the ground while she was running it as president of Xbox? Quite possibly. Sounds like she did a really bad job as leading a lot of the marketing pushes, particularly with that whole like Xbox is everything thing, which was super stupid because it's not. An Xbox is a console. The whole idea of trying to suddenly say like your phone's an Xbox and like your computer's an Xbox, it's just some pretty like marketing 101 stupidity, and I'm not sure why she did it. And but either way, she's getting blamed for it. She was getting paid enough to be blamed for it. I don't particularly care. Other than all that, a lot of people were saying, well, this is someone that hasn't really touched games before, so like this is potentially concerning. And I will say that's not something that I'm super concerned about at all. Because as I was saying, Microsoft is such a tire fire of a company. You really need someone there that is just a political animal that can get their will done. And right now, Microsoft gives a lot of leeway to anything that is just has the word AI on it. Hell, pretty much all investors everywhere, as soon as you're like, we're putting AI into our product, suddenly your stock prices go up super high, even though like your product doesn't need AI. Most things don't need this, but they're shoving it in everywhere in the hopes that investors will shove billions of dollars into their companies, and then they can sell their stocks, and then, leave this whole bubble as a multi-millionaire. Now, ideally, what Asha can do if she moves into this role is do two things. Number one, put people in charge of the various major studios under Xbox that actually do care about games, and start wholesale getting rid of a lot of employees that are under Xbox. Like I was seeing like potentially 18,000 to 22,000 people that work under Xbox. You could probably lay off half of them. And even if you got the same quality games, which are pretty poor quality games, like you're spending a lot less overhead every year on those salaries. And this is coming from someone that works in games. I want my industry to be healthy, but it's not, because it's filled with idiots and people that think that their job is not to make a product for gamers, the people that are buying the game. Their job is to push whatever social agenda they have, or some of them believe that it's their right to work in games and it's your duty to buy the games. And it's just, their brains are broken. The leadership that pushes that along and permits it to exist needs to go. And I think it was some person that was working at Blizzard was saying at some point, saying, hey, I'm surprised at the democratization of like how designing games works now. And if you look, he was working, I think, on World of Warcraft. And if you look at World of Warcraft over time, it's just gotten progressively worse because that company's been filled with crazy people. And ideally, you don't have this democratization with all these studios. Ideally, every studio is basically run by an autocrat, where they're saying, I have a vision, and we're going to build off that vision, and I am going to be the person that says yes or no to various things. And if somebody doesn't like being told no, you get rid of that person. There are a lot of people that are in the games industry right now that were told growing up that they could just get a degree for game development, as like a game artist or a game programmer, and then or like a writer, and then they can just have this career forever. And with some of them, since they lived through this like golden age where we had so much investment money coming in, particularly after COVID money really hit, where it was just every stupid idea got funded, but pretty much everything that got funded that was a stupid idea is coming out failing. And then you've got these not so much engineers, while you see them every so often, usually the art types or writers that just go ballistic. They don't understand. They're like, oh, well, this failed because Grum's tweeted about it, or Asmongold said something negative. It's the YouTuber's fault. I can't believe the chuds did this to us, because they don't foundationally understand that they're making a product for other people. And when you are making a product for other people and they don't like to buy that product, you lose your job. That's how it should be. That's how it needs to return. And my hope, best case scenario, is that Asha is able to put people in place in these companies to make that happen, or start up new, smaller development companies where they're very lean, filled with very competent people, and then strip the IP from some of these companies and then give it to those other companies and then shut them down. I would not care if like Bethesda got shut down, for example. It's super big. They're pretty incompetent. Starfield came out, super unimpressive. Now they're like, well, it's going to be years and years until we get, Elder Scrolls out. It's like, what have you guys been doing this whole time? How are you guys so bad at literally everything? You're all running off the coattails of Skyrim from like 10,000 years ago, and your salaries are getting paid by Microsoft, and you just cannot produce anything. The best thing that's come out of anything Bethesda in recent history was what was it? The Oblivion remake, which I really want a Morrowind remake. That's kind of what I'm looking for. That was like my big thing growing up. Like I was banished to like the Midwest to go spend a summer with my grandparents, and all I had was my like original Xbox and a copy of the Morrowind Game of the Year edition. Great times. But that's my personal preference. But when it comes to other companies, well, like Blizzard is unimaginably big. in terms of the people. They have some very strong IP that you should just take away from Blizzard. I don't understand how they can you're just like, oh, just let them sit on the StarCraft IP. No big deal. You could probably find like a pretty decently sized team to build another entry in StarCraft and just tell the folks over at Blizzard to kick rocks. And if they really don't like it, just start letting them go. We've seen so many large studios that just are not producing well, where they're able to live off of their coattails when the people that worked at those companies that were really the people that made things happen, they left a long time ago. The people that were there that built the games that you loved from these beloved companies, they're all gone. And the few that stayed are generally like, they're very different people from what they were then. So my hope, all that happens. I would like Xbox to be successful. That's like the American company for everything. So as an American, I want it to succeed. Worst case, Asha's there to sunset Xbox, which wouldn't be a big surprise. They failed this entire generation. The next generation of consoles, it's going to be so expensive to try and get those parts right now, and it's just going up. I don't know if they're going to even want to enter that. I would love for them to just say, hey, we're going to partner with Steam and we're going to have Steam build the new console and then handle the hardware side of thing and the whole ecosystem. And we're just going to focus on, paying Steam to handle that side. And then we'll act as a publisher on our side to basically remove themselves from that. Because by having Microsoft handle all of that, it's going to end up having all these layers of people that are added in there because they need to match the Byzantine structure of Microsoft, and just having like 10 billion people that are at every position here. So if they could outsource that to like a fellow Washington company that actually knows what they're doing about games, that would be a huge win for them. I don't think Steam would probably accept that, but hey, that's like, that would be nice. And even if it isn't, I don't understand how I don't see a good path forward for Microsoft. I didn't see it before. I could potentially see it better now if Asha's able to use that political capital as someone that's coming in from AI to really drive whatever changes to make Xbox a better brand. But to get there, it's going to need to get rid of a lot of jobs. So many people that are working under the Xbox umbrella need to go. They need to get back to making good games. And if there are so many people at a lot of these companies where they're not interested, and you just got to either shut those companies down. Actually, it's probably best to just shut them down, because if you were to target a lot of these individual activists at these places, they're all going to sue you and say, oh, well, I'm getting targeted because I decided to identify as a cat. And according to this law, you can't do that. So it's probably best to just say, hey, you guys screwed up in your hiring process. 200 people, you're all laid off. Get out of here. All that IP is ours. It's going to go to some person that knows what they're doing. And, we'll see how it goes. I don't think it's as big of a like doom and gloom situation as some people were setting, but I also don't see like a great path forward right now. I do wish Xbox all the best. I do hope that we're able to get our act together as a Western game industry as fast as possible. And we will see over time. But that's all I've got for now. Thank you for your time, and I hope to see you all again in a future video. Farewell.